Abusia mincha na mu akwaba sonko so emra eye be media GH so abusia ye papa Afari Gyan aba abonten e di nsem bi aba abatudwa abusia ansa say ye beto aba no on the 7th of December no Afari Gyan aba abonten e di nsem bi abatudwa a o ka kire eye Jean Mensah say sisi na this time about no abusia emu a eden nti Jean Mensah e make sure say obe act as a neutral body sani ebeya ebeboa ama about no aye free and fair. After 7th of December no enyoma bi etwagu ensem ebobobani na efri eye EC Jean Mensah ene ne recollection ene ne declaration bi a oyeye no ye papa Afari Gyan ababonten ababekle ewo ne a Jean Mensah eye no mabusua se ene de dikon ne twa channel so be so beje mre na wa hwe video si bi wi a wa subscribe wa like na wa bo ahia ma fofo pensem bi ati na nya bi ati yenko ne nkoti ensem a ye papa Afari Gyan ode ato eye edwa oka ediafa eye Jean Mensah ehona se wi na se wanwe chibi abusu abomoden na ya kire ya adwen ha eye be media GH so
kind of confusion in which we find ourselves. But I insist that we must rethink the caliber of people we appoint and
advise your students that seek that shall be given.
We must rethink the caliber of people. You know, Afari Gyan has always been saying this. You see, the last time I listened to Afari Gyan, he was not even people bother so much about how our EC officials are appointed. Afari Gyan said it's not even about how they are appointed because everybody would have to be appointed by somebody. Yes. Appointees will not come from the moon. But he's talking about how the person is able to conduct himself or herself. Your courage, your confidence, and your ability to want to hold on to your own.
That's the case of Salah versus Attorney General. He said it is not the appointment. And we are Ghanaians, and we are in a closed circuit community. Yes. So if you want to see who is here or there, you won't appoint anybody.
Yes. Yes. So it's about how the person conducts himself, and that is for me critical. How I saw the bantering between you and that EC.
So that's why the court said they moved the standard from likelihood of bias to real likelihood of bias. It must be real.
It is not appropriate. So the EC heads must begin to also talk to their EC heads should begin to talk to the people they appoint to work at some of these collation centers, so that per their conduct and their comportment and their utterances, they would not give themselves out so easily as having taken a session. You know, already there is this belief that the NDC was going to have a 2/3 majority, and so then some people have been contracted to put some small sand in their garage so that
allegation.
And so you don't have to do things.
1 million of them will not.
You don't have to do things. You don't have to do
1 million of such allegations.
But you don't have to do things in a manner that fester that kind of perception, allegation and perception. You don't have to do that.
And in fact, that leads into the next question, Prof. That point you just made, and I want you to still stay on it, because there's been that contention that could the Electoral Commission have acted differently because of the same perception, or in some cases the reality of the outcomes of their actions that has impacted on how people perceive the neutrality and independence of the Commission itself. We have seen over the period the posture and conduct of some members of the Commission that has raised concern. And now this particular decision that even though they acted on a court order, we're seeing how things are playing out. Does that concern you?
Well, I'm worried. I think that first, I don't know whether an emergency IPAC meeting was convened prior to the decision.
There was supposed to be an IPAC meeting yesterday.
It was called and called off.
It was called and called off.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that, you see, given...
But one was being held yesterday.
Yes. Given the brouhaha, I think the EC could have quickly summoned an IPAC meeting, to discuss some of these things. Even proud.
No, Prof. This matter has become very political. Because, you see, we got declarations made in our favor, NDC. NPP says they disagree. Then the commandeer, for instance, Fantiakwa North, declarations made in Begro to be brought to Tesano and declared. Yes.
But was that supposed to be the case?
No.
Okay, so if
hold on. Not pursuant to any court order.
Yeah.
Not pursuant to any laid down law.
Yeah.
So now they are relying on the Tesano declaration. Yeah. NDC is relying on the Fantiakwa non-declaration. Yeah. How will IPAC resolve this?
No,
you understand?
This is gone beyond IPAC.
Yeah, so
the rightful forum should be in the court.
Exactly. So it has to be a court of law, like the Constitution says.
What I don't like personally is the discussions of the content, even before the court.
You mean the merits?
The merits of the matter.
Yes.
You see, Ghana is the only place we have.
It can only take a court.
Losing election will not bring your life to zero.
Yeah.
Okay. You see, so let us agree that we will.
And some people, it's bread and butter for them.
But
you are a lawyer.
Yes, please.
Because you see, as soon as the last Saturday declaration were made at Reach, the NDC, we issued a statement and said we disregard all that. So the issue has become political. So IPAC can't resolve it. These are not electoral
political. Then IPAC could resolve, but
no.
It can't be.
But will you agree? Will you agree? You and your people. Will you agree that the second declarations didn't favor you?
We are already
so disengaged.
But
you understand? So you agree, and then this will
the reason why I was calling for a swift IPAC meeting is that you see it could have set a certain tone or stage for the comportment of the EC officials at the various coalition centers. You see, the way they behaved, it showed that
Prof,
they are taking.
Prof, you'll be shocked.
Please,
EC officials.
Okay. No, so the way they behaved suggested to me that they had taken a certain stance, and they were there to execute that stance.
Some bidding.
And I felt that, look, if there had been a prior meeting or discussion, I mean, some of these things would have been tamed or watered down. But it was not good. I mean, I was just looking at the way and manner, the exchanges and other stuff. You are an EC official. And then the allegations of the votes being declared under duress. Yeah. I kept asking myself that where were the security agencies when people were being forced to act under duress?
Let me assist you. Mm-hmm. Dr. Bosmansari made the point that some returning officer had a gun pointed to his head before he declared.
No, you see,
when he was asked to point to which constituency this happened, then he started talking about Tama Central. When we told him that nothing like that happened in Tama Central, then he came to Okankwe Central.
No, you see,
your own journalist from here asked him that if he said somebody had a gun to his head, where did this happen? Mm-hmm. When these processes were covered by so many media houses. Mm-hmm. So it appears that he's been given some script to narrate. No, and he stuck to that narrative.
So you see why Boss Masari and Jean Mensah must go.
I don't want to talk about.
You see why they have to do.
No, this is
I'm saying I don't want to use Boss Masari's case as an example. As a Boss Masari.
No, but as a high-ranking EC official, you don't feed into such a narrative.
Let me make my point. Wait. I'm saying that I don't want to use his case as an example because. With the greatest of respect to him, I think anytime he speaks, I mean, he offends people's mood and sensibilities rather than
assuaging them.
He was your colleague.
Yeah, he was my colleague, but I think on a lighter note, he's the Napo in the EC, and I think he doesn't sound conciliatory. I mean, how do you say that those listen? Oh wait, I use it figuratively. I'm using it figuratively. He's a Napo in the EC. How do you say that those asking for your removal do not understand your mandate? I mean, others were removed before you came. And so this one, you see, if they are talking about this, you don't even say something. Just allow people to talk and then you focus on your work. Yeah. But you come out and I say, sometimes I don't want to use him as an example to make my point. But the point is that if people said they acted under duress, didn't they have the opportunity to report to the security agencies who were providing security at the various coalition centers? Were they reports? Do we have any documentary evidence?
Let me give you another instance of EC conduct. EC actually appointed new returning officer for Tema Central last week to do the declaration. Because the returning officer...
The redeclaration was all
the returning officer said, once NDC is boycotting the process, he thinks that then we should fix another date and come back when matters are settled so that they can participate in the recoalition. They said, no. So they got a new person to do the declaration. In Okankwe Central, the same thing happened. Baba Sadiq...
they say the Ofosuhini, now he had calmed down.
No, Ofosuhini is actually a EC director, Metro director. It's not a returning officer. But he took over the process.
Okay.
But when our returning officer decided that once there's a disagreement, he will leave, they actually appointed a new officer for the same day he did the declaration. So that's the conduct you speak to. In other constituencies, they also got new officials. So it goes to EC conduct.
Then that's incompetence.
I am telling you.
Oh, how?
They appointed new people to actually supervise the process. So it was an agenda that has been set.
So where were
for that Saturday, it has to be done.
Where were the original officials?
They were the
ones who were complaining that they were forced. They acted under. And my view is that you cannot have security agencies there policing election, and then you say
they
that
were all fabrications, afterthoughts. There were comments made as an afterthought.
Because you made reference to something Dr. Bosman Asari said in that interview that my colleague Beatrice Edo had with him. Let's take a listen specifically to what he said. Take a look.
I think everything went on excellently. We've engaged a lot of the observers from the African continent, AU, ECOWAS, Commonwealth, the International UN. All of them seem to be happy with the process. Domestic observer, Kodeo, and everyone.
How do you respond to the claim or allegation from critics that perhaps you are in cahoot with the NPP to prevent the NDC from absolute majority in Parliament?
You can read my lips. The Commission doesn't care who becomes majority in Parliament. We don't care who becomes minority in Parliament. What we care about is that let's follow the law. Let's do the right things. Because if we want to become an effective society, a law-abiding society, let's make sure that anyone who wants to abuse our system is not allowed. And this one, we as citizens must rise up, regardless of whoever we support. We shouldn't support anyone who engage in abuse of the law. That one will not help us.
So you're not even bothered about the claims that if it had not been transparency or vigilance on the part of a lot of people, the EC might have helped to rig the election?
I know people say things to excite their base, but let's be very clear. It's the vigilance of the EC, the citizens, which has brought us to this point where parties themselves told themselves that, by 12 May, I would have gotten the results from all the polling station because of the measures the EC.
But the fact that